He was the most clever private detective. Murderers and felons feared him. But this time, he was given the strangest case. This case pushed him to the dark side of humanity, until that one day when he realized he was just a pawn in this game of chess.
Looking forward to it. Put it down.
Welcome back to Paramount Recaps. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me. New York City, 1991. Detective Matt Scudder is sitting in a car with his partner before heading into a bar where cops drink for free. The bartender sets Matt up with 2 shots and a cup of coffee. Suddenly, 2 thugs storm in, demanding money. When the bartender refuses, they shoot him in the chest. Matt reacts quickly, pulling out his gun, firing at them. He chases them into the street, shooting one of the guys down. The second one hops in a car with a third guy. Matt manages to shoot the driver, and when the last guy tries to run, Matt gets him in the leg and finishes him off as the guy tumbles down some steps. As the opening credits roll, we see a woman lying with her eyes open while a man kisses her cheek. Then, another man appears beside him. The woman has tape over her mouth, and a single tear rolls down her face. Fast forward 8 years, Matt, now sober, is sitting in a diner about to eat when a junkie named Peter shows up, asking for help for his brother. At first, Matt doesn't seem interested, but he follows Peter and ends up at the home of Peter's brother, Kenny Christo. Kenny, knowing about Matt's work as a private investigator, offers him $20,000 to track down the men who killed his wife, even though Kenny paid the ransom they asked for. Matt quickly realizes Kenny's involved in drug dealing and refuses to help. Back at his place, Matt finds Kenny waiting for him outside. Kenny tries to convince him by sharing his wife's name, Carrie, and showing Matt he cared about her. In a flashback, we see Kenny receiving a call from the kidnappers asking for $500,000. Kenny tried to negotiate, offering $400,000 instead. The lead kidnapper, not messing around, threatened to send Kenny one of Carrie's breasts. Scared, Kenny agreed and took the money to the drop-off point, waiting for Carrie to be returned. But she never showed. Instead, Kenny was told to check the trunk of an old car in Red Hook. When he opened one of the bags inside, blood poured out. After that, Kenny gave Matt a tape recorder from the trunk. When Matt listens to it later, he hears the kidnappers torturing Carrie as she screams. This pushes Matt to start investigating. Matt begins by looking for clues around Red Hook. He learns the kidnappers were probably connected to the DEA. Everyone he talks to mentions seeing a van with 2 men near where Carrie was last seen. But each person gives a different description of the van since the kidnappers kept repainting. Next, Matt hits the library to research similar cases. He finds articles on 2 other victims, Marie Gotskind and Layla Anderson. While he's reading, a street kid named TJ is hanging around. Matt asks TJ for help digging up more information. Together, they discover that parts of a body were found in a dumpster and more body parts in bags at a cemetery pond. Matt then takes TJ to a diner for pancakes. Matt heads to the cemetery to talk to the groundskeeper, Jonas Lugon. Jonas found one of the victims' bodies and clearly wants to forget about it. He gets upset when Matt brings it up. TJ, still trying to play detective, follows Matt to an apartment, offering to help. Matt tells him to stay behind and goes inside to meet Layla's fiancé, Ruben. Matt asks about the last time Ruben saw Layla. Ruben tells him he saw her being grabbed by 2 men and dragged into a van. Matt also starts suspecting that Ruben might be involved in drug dealing too. While looking out the window, Matt notices a cage of birds on a nearby rooftop. He heads over to check it out and finds a shed full of odd things, including photos of Ruben and Layla getting it. Jonas shows up, wielding a knife, but Matt talks him into putting it down. Jonas admits he was the driver when Layla was kidnapped. He didn't like her drug use with Ruben, so he teamed up with the kidnappers, thinking they'd save her. Instead, he witnessed one of the men cutting her blouse and asking which breast she liked more before cutting off the other. Terrified, Jonas ran away. When Matt asks where the kidnappers are, Jonas gives him the name Ray before jumping off the roof and landing on a car. We then meet the 2 kidnappers, Ray and Albert, chilling at their place, casually reading about Y2K and its looming fears. They drive by Yuri Landau's house, another drug dealer in town. As they pass by, they notice Yuri's 14-year-old daughter, Lucia, out walking her dog. She gives them a quick wave, and Ray is immediately smitten by her. Matt heads to a store to ask the owner about Marie Gotskind. Later, he visits an apartment where the owner and his son attack him. Turns out, they've been accused over and over of killing Marie, which frustrates them. They tell Matt that Marie was actually a cop involved in drug deals alongside them. While walking the streets, Matt bumps into TJ, who now has a gun he found. Matt shows him how to use it, but warns him he'd be better off shooting himself, implying that carrying it would only lead to trouble. The next day, TJ, Matt notices a guy tailing him, stepping out of a van marked East Village Plumbing Supply, similar to the kidnapper's van. Matt sneaks into an apartment, wraps a scarf around his hand, and ambushes the man by smashing through the window into his face. Turns out, the guy's a federal agent. His team grabs Matt, throws him in a van, but drops him off when Matt asks about Marie and gets no real answers. Matt heads to Peter's apartment, where Peter is on the verge of shooting up. The walls are covered in nude paintings of Carrie, showing Peter was in love with her. Matt tells Peter to inform Kenny that he's backing out and doesn't want any part of this case anymore. Meanwhile, in the rain, TJ gets jumped by two thugs who want their gun back. He tells them he tossed it in the river, so they beat him with his own backpack. Matt later finds TJ in the hospital, where the doctor explains TJ's sickle cell anemia was triggered, likely by the rain or the assault. When TJ wakes up, he asks Matt why he stopped being a cop. Matt confesses that during the shootout from the start of the story, he accidentally shot and killed a 7-year-old girl. Ray and Albert decide to make their move, breaking into the Landau house. They taste the family dog and then kidnap Lucia after she's finished helping her sick mother. Peter goes to Matt and takes him to the Landau home, where the kidnappers have called and are now demanding ransom for Lucia. Yuri answers and tries to negotiate, but Matt grabs the phone and tells Ray they won't see a penny if they hurt the girl. Ray proves Lucia is safe, and they set up a drop. Matt calls TJ on a phone he left him, asking him to pick up a box from his place and hand it over to Peter. TJ, not trusting Peter to handle it alone, brings the box himself. Matt, Kenny, Peter, Yuri, and TJ head to the cemetery to meet the kidnappers. Peter hides behind some tombstones with a rifle, ready for action. They make the exchange, though Lucia's hands are bloody. Ray casually mentions it happened before they agreed on conditions. Lucia returns to her father, and Albert takes the money, realizing too late that it's counterfeit. As he tries to warn Ray, Matt pulls out his gun and shoots Ray twice, but Ray's bulletproof vest saves him. Albert fires back, hitting Peter while Matt wounds Ray in the side. The kidnappers escape in their van, leaving Matt and Kenny to tend to a dying Peter. Peter, struggling to speak, tries to confess his love for Carrie, but Kenny misinterprets it as brotherly love and responds in kind. When Matt heads to the car, he realizes TJ is missing. Turns out TJ snuck into the back of the kidnappers' van and tracked them to their hideout. He gets the address and informs Matt. Inside, Ray and Albert are trying to patch up Ray's bullet. Albert takes things into his own hands and strangles Ray with a garrote in the basement. Afterward, he casually heads upstairs to eat, unaware that Matt, Kenny, and TJ have just broken into the house. Matt cuffs Albert to a pipe and leaves him for Kenny, sending TJ home cab. Kenny grabs a bottle, smashes it over Albert's head, and heads downstairs to find Ray. Albert manages to free himself. Matt, thinking something's wrong, goes back inside to finish the job. He recalls the 12 steps from his AA meetings. Inside, he finds a bloody scene, Kenny's body at the bottom of the stairs, surrounded by a pool of blood. Matt slips on the blood and falls. Albert almost kills him with the garrote, but Matt fights back. He grabs a taser from Ray's pocket and shocks Albert in the groin, then in the neck. Grabbing a gun from the floor, Matt shoots Albert in the head, ending it all. Matt returns home to find TJ asleep on the couch. Next to him is a drawing of TJ as a superhero. Matt sits down and slowly closes his eyes.